As you're deploying any workload, it's going to come down to three primary different things. Number one, the cluster deployment. Number two, what application stack or resources or objects are getting deployed. And number three, how you're deploying them. So in this video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to get a Kubernetes cluster up and running in env0 with Terraform and a Helm deployment. So first things first, I'm in env0. I created a new organization here. You can just click these bi-directional arrows, click new organization and create your own. Next, I'm going to create a new template. And as you can see here, got a bunch of different options. I'm going to click Terraform. I'm going to say AKS, click next. This is going to then pull the code for me. I'll say GitHub. That's where it exists currently. All right, choose that one. Choose the branch, which is main, and then where the folder is, the root directory. Okay, so let's just go ahead and take a look at that here. Okay, so the root directory is Azure AKS. All right, so we're gonna say Azure/AKS and click next. We can add in some variables here if we want to. I also have variables right in here. Right, then we can click next, leave the default for my first project, and click done. All right, so now we can click new environment to deploy the template. We can give it the environment name here, main. We can choose a workspace name if we want to. These are pretty good if you want to split things up for like dev staging production. The remote backend here, which will store the state, but you don't have to. Any type of drift detection, which is great. And we can also see the destroy is disabled. We can approve plan automatically, so we don't have to click any buttons for that. And then we'll click run. Now, if you didn't choose the approve automatically for the plan, you'll have a little button here that you'll have to click. Notice here you're also getting some pricing information. All right, and as we can see, the project is now active. So we got our resource deployed. We can see it's our Kubernetes cluster. Boom, beautiful. We could also see things like cost, which again is very much necessary. If we go to project settings here, we should be able to add a credential and turn on that cost piece if we want to, and then we can see all of our configuration here, but I'm going to skip that for now. We could also go to deployments, see what was deployed, any changes, when, how long it took, and by who. Right? So now what we're going to do is we are going to get an application stack deployed. Right? So we're going to go to our project here. I'm going to say create new environment. Right? I'll go to manage templates. Actually, you know what? I'm going to go to add new project and I'm going to say app stack, create project. All right, then I'm going to click create new template. And then from here, I can choose the template type. I'll go with Helm. We'll give it a name. We'll say Nginx. Some advanced functions here. So retry on failure if any SSH keys are needed. Click next. We'll go to Helm repo, and then we'll have to choose the URL containing the Helm chart, okay? Or we could go directly to GitHub. All right, so I'm gonna go to Helm repo example, and then if I head over to GitHub really quick, we could see Helm repo example, right? And we can see that Helm chart right under here. So we're going to choose Nginx test as the default directory. Nginx test, click next again, click done. This is just making sure that this Helm chart is available in all of my projects. Create new environment, template, and then we will run our Helm chart, okay? So we're just going to do default namespace, say Nginx. Approve plan automatically, and click run. Now, by default, there's nothing prompting you to put some cluster in, okay? So if you see an error like this where it essentially can't reach the Kubernetes cluster, again, there should be some type of prompt to put in a cluster here. What you're gonna do is under Add New Trigger, you can click your cluster, click Save, and then you should be able to do a redeploy. Oop, nope. You actually get the same error. And I think what we're actually going to have to do is, so if I go create a new environment again, choose the settings for this, go to variables, and we're going to have to add an environment variable in here. Okay. It's going to be cluster underscore name and then AKS environment 01 because that is the name of my cluster. Should be able to deploy this here. Nginx test, default, Nginx test. See our environment variable here and run. All right, we'll see this approval button here. This is for the overall deployment. All right, and we can see our resource has now been deployed successfully via Helm. So that's how we can get both a cluster up and running and a Helm chart deployed using env0.